Today we're gonna take a look at this Korean wall clock made in the 1970s by a company called Rollens. It's a 31-day clock. I bought it from a flea market for a very good price. And it's the loudest striking clock in my collection. It has a coiled gong behind the pendulum. That is the loudest thing in the house. On top of there, it has a removable crown with these two side pieces in that curved one removable as well. And those side ones, you can put them underneath the case if you'd like. There are holes for them. And there's also an extra one in there, but I cannot put it anywhere because it would touch the Maya cuckoo clock and the ceiling. And that's not good. Also, here is like a small arrow that helps leveling the clock. You can see the pendulum isn't resting right above the edge of the arrow, so that means the clock is a little to the side. And I need to put it in beat, but it's close enough, it's not that bad. And here's the non-original key that they provided. Inside of it, it has the same typical Korean movement with a weird suspension mount and giant mainsprings. So let's go take a look at it. So here's the movement, and it's a rare moment because this is the first video shot in my room. And I had to move the clock because I didn't have proper conditions of showing the movement in the clock room. Here is the deadbeat escapement, but to me it looks more like a recoil actually. And here are the rack, snail, and that only lever. And now I'm going to make it strike. Oh, I accidentally touched the pendulum. This is the only clock in my collection with a front-mounted pendulum, which is something interesting. And in there, on this bushing, it's very worn and it needs a replacement. And also, it's weird that it has so many coiled springs. Like, the hammer is spring-loaded, which is something okay. The rack tail is spring-loaded. This thing is also spring-loaded up there. And I think that's all. But it's weird because there are so many blade springs. And this should have been the loudest clock, or the loudest ticking clock in my collection. But there's also another one that's a little louder. I'm talking about this clock, which is the loudest ticking clock in my collection, and it's in my room. Also, I put this extra thing that I've shown earlier down here so you can see how it looks like. I won't show the back of the movement because I don't feel like unscrewing all of those screws back there. And I don't think it's much to see at all from the back because the front plate is skeletonized. But overall, it's a nice movement. I might as well give it a wind on the strike side, so you might see how it winds. And now the dial is back on, and there's nothing else to be said about this clock. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and see you next time.